Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by again, and if this is your first time on this channel, you're absolutely welcome. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. So in this tutorial today, I'm going to show you how to make this stylish and beautiful A-line dress with inverted pleat. One of my subscribers sent it some weeks ago, but I didn't have fabrics to go for it. But in this tutorial today, I'm going to show you how to cut the pattern for it and how to sew it together using a miniature size fabrics. And if this sounds like something you would love to learn, please watch to the end so you don't miss any part of it. And without further ado, let's get started. So to get started, I'm just going to go ahead and mark all the vertical lines. And that's exactly what I've done here. And I'll just go ahead and label each part. And so right here, we have the shoulder line. And right here, we have the bust point. I'll just go ahead and extend the line like so. And right here, we have the under bust, the waistline, the hip line, and the full length. And having done that, I'll also go ahead and indicate the chest line. And in this case, since we're making a sleeveless dress, we're going to go ahead and minus 1 inch from the chest line. This is just to ensure that the armhole is firm and our bust is not showing through. And up next, we're going to come to the shoulder line here, and we're going to get the shoulder divided by 2, and I'll indicate that here. And I'm going to repeat the same process here on the chest line. Shoulder divided by 2, and I'm going to link both points together like so. And up next, we're going to create the neckline. So I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches for the back neckline. And for the width, I'm going to use 3 inches. And next, I'm going to connect the point together like so. And up next, I'll come to this part here and come down by 1 inch. And next, I'm going to link it to the neckline to create our shoulder slant. And for the front neck depth, I'm going to use 3 inches. And I'm going to link it up like so. And right now, we're going to go ahead and indicate the nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches in this case. I'll do this all the way from the bust line till the full length. And then we're going to link the point together on a straight line. And having done that, I'll come here and come down by 1/2 inch from the bust point like so. And the next thing to do is to come to the under bust line here. And I'm going to be marking 1 inch on both sides like so. And up next, we're going to link the point together like so. And right from the under bust line, we're going to connect the dart legs to the hip line. And having done that, the next thing to do is to come to the shoulder line here, and we're going to measure what we have there and find the midpoint, all right? And the next thing to do is to link it down here like so. And having done that, I'll mark 1/2 inch on both sides of this line like so in order to create our shoulder dart. And I'm going to go ahead and link it up together like so. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and create our armhole. So I'll come to this part here, and I'm going to get the midpoint, and I'll come out by 1/2 inch on the midpoint. And having done that, I'll come here and get the bust circumference divided by 4, which is 10 in this case. And I'm just going to go ahead and link the point together. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and skip to the waist part here because my under bust and my waist are the same, okay? So I'm going to get my waist divided by 4. And next, we're going to return the dart intake on the waistline. I'm going to ignore what we have on the under bust, okay? Because I want the under bust to be firm, okay? So here, we're going to return the dart intake on the waistline like so. And right now, I'll just go ahead and connect from the waistline to the chest line like so. And having done that, we're going to come to the hip line, and we're going to indicate the hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch for his, okay? And up next, we're going to connect from the hip line to the waistline. And from the hip line, we're going to connect straight to the full length. And having done that, the next thing to do is to add allowance to the pattern. So from the chest line, I added 1 inch. On the waistline, I added 1 inch. I'll also add 1 inch on the hip line here. And when I get to the full length here, I'll add 2 inches, okay? Remember that we're making an A-shaped dress. So I added 2 inches here to have a flare effect, okay? but the seam allowance is 1 inch. Okay, so here I'm just joining the points together. So like I said, I added 1 inch here, 1 inch to the waistline and 2 inches to the hemline. Okay, and now we have our front pattern, and the next thing to do is just to go ahead and cut out this pattern. And before I continue cutting, I'll add half an inch allowance to the armhole. I'm also going to add half an inch to the shoulder line. And I'll also go ahead and add half an inch allowance to the front neckline. And before I cut out the dart, I'm going to determine where the inverted pleat is going to start from. And based on the style inspiration, I'm just going to come to the hip line here and I'm going to go upward by 4 inches. And I'm going to indicate the 4 inches on the side here too. Then I'm going to link it together on a straight line like so. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and cut out the dart. And having done that, this is what the pattern looks like, and we're going to go ahead and also draft the back piece. And right here, this is the back piece, and as you can see, I've gone ahead to draft some part of it. Here we have our shoulder line, the chest line, waistline, hip line, and the full length. And right here, I've gone ahead to also indicate the nipple to nipple measurement, as you can see right here. And right now we're going to get our darts, and here on the waistline I'll go outward by half an inch on both sides. All right, and here on the chest line I'll come downward by half an inch like so. Then I'll link the point to the waistline, and next I'll connect the dart leg to the hip line. And up next we're going to get the midpoint on the shoulder line here, then connect it to this part. And next we're going to get half an inch on both sides of the line in order to get our shoulder dart, and I'll just link it up like so. And up next we're going to get the bust circumference divided by 4, which I'd already indicated on the chest line, and here on the waistline the waist divided by 4. On the hip line also we're going to get the hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch. Then we're going to link it together. And before I do that, I remember that we have to return the dart intake, so I'm going to return the dart intake right here. Next I'll just go ahead and link the points together. And right here, as you can see, the back piece is taking shape already. So I'll come to the zipper allowance here on the waistline, and I'm going to come inward by half an inch, and I'm going to return that half an inch on the side here, then reshape the side. And right here on the half an inch, I'm just going to go ahead and link it upward like so, and I'm going to repeat the same process downward here like so. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and shade off this part. And having done that, I'll come to the side here and add allowance to the side. On the chest line I'll add 1 inch, on the waist 1 inch, hip line I also add 1 inch, and on the full length I'm going to add 2 inches just like we did on the front. Okay, and then I'll connect the point together like so. And up next, I'm going to go ahead and add half an inch allowance to the armhole, shoulder line, and also the neckline. And having done that, I'll also indicate where the inverted pleat is going to start from, just like we did on the front pattern. So I came up by 4 inches on the hip line, okay? And just so you know, the inverted pleat can start from any point of your choice. It doesn't have to be on this point, okay? I'm just trying to follow the style inspiration. You can make your start from the waistline if you want it. All right, so right now the next thing to do is just to go ahead and cut out the pattern. And guys, if you have watched to this part and you're yet to subscribe, please go ahead and do that. Also click on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. And right here, this is the back piece, and I forgot to cut the shaded part on the zipper allowance. I will be cutting it out in the course of this tutorial, right? And right here we have both the front bodice and that of the back, all right? And the next thing to do is to go ahead and add the inverted pleats. And in order to do this, I just got a random pattern paper and I'm just going to go ahead and fold it into 2 like so, okay? And the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and mark 4 inches from top to bottom. And I'm going to link it together on a straight line. And having done that, we're going to repeat the same process on the other side of the pattern like so. And having done that, I'll just go ahead and open up the pattern like so, all right? And the next thing we need to do is to go ahead and measure the length of the inverted pleat, all right? Right from this part where we marked, I'm going to measure it all the way to the hem. And I'll also go ahead and mark that length, which is around 15.5, all right? I'm going to mark it on this new pattern, okay? And after indicating the length, I'll just go ahead and cut off the excess. And having done that, the next thing to do is to pick the center front, all right? And we are going to go ahead and place it on the first line like so, okay? And the next thing we are going to do is just to go ahead and tape it together. So right here, I'm using a sellotape to hold it together like so. And right here, I'll just cut off the excess here. And having done that, the next thing to do is to pick the side front and we are going to align it on the straight line, and we're also going to go ahead and tape it down. And right here, this is what the front pattern is looking like right now, okay? And we're going to repeat the same process to the back pattern. And so right here for the back piece, I've also gone ahead to mark 4 inches on both sides of the pattern like so. And I'm just going to be picking the center back and I will align it to the straight line like so. I'm going to tape it and I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. And so right here, this is what the back looks like after adding the pleat allowance. And right here, this is the front piece we did earlier on, okay? And right now, just go ahead and cut out this shaded part on the zipper area. And the next thing to do would be to go ahead and use the pattern to cut the fabrics. And like I said earlier, I'm going to be using a miniature size, all right? So here, I recreated the pattern using a small piece, okay? And here, I've placed it on the fabrics. And so right here, this is the front piece. And as you can see, I cut it on fold. And right now, the next thing to do is to cut out the excess, all right? So down here on the hemline, I'll just go ahead and cut out the excess that we have there. And on this part, as you can see, right here, I added ½ an inch for joining allowance. And so I'm just going to proceed to cutting out the unwanted part. And right here, this is what it looks like after cutting out the excess, and I'll remove the pin so we can open it up. And right here, this is what it looks like after opening it up. All right, and the next thing to do is to go ahead and join the dart together. All right, so I'm going to align it together like so, and we're going to be pinning the dart area. And we're also going to go ahead and pin the other side. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and stitch it. So we're going to repeat the same process to the other side. We're going to stitch all the way down, all right? And when you get to this inverted area part, we're going to come down by 1/2 inch like so, all right? Stitch all the way down to this part like so. And right here, that's exactly what I've done. I went ahead to stitch the dart and I iron open the dart, as you can see right here. And right here, as you can see, the part that has the pleat is still opened. So in order to close it up, we're going to go ahead and fold it like so. You can give it a good press using your iron. All right, fold it like so. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and flip it like this. And we're going to stitch from here to this part. And we're going to flip to the other side and also stitch from here to this part here. Okay, we're also going to repeat the same process to the other side. We're going to fold the pleat in like so. Okay, and the next thing to do is to go ahead and stitch from here to the end here, flip it to the other side, and you're going to stitch from here towards the end. And right here, guys, that's exactly what I've done. I've gone ahead to stitch close the pleat. And on the right side, this is what you would have. And you're going to repeat the same process to the back piece. And don't forget, on the front piece, you're also going to add button details to the dart lines, okay? And this is where I'm going to stop the tutorial today. I hope it's very easy for you to understand. Just follow the process and your dress is going to come out really nice. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful, and I will see you in my next tutorial.